Who touched me?
This is Presley on her first birthday.
She's wearing a hat.
Back then, she was silent and expressionless, not uttering any sounds at all, ever.
There, just touch it. Oh, yay! Do it again.
Very good.
Yay! Good girl. Good. Did we go to the zoo today?
This is Presley on her second birthday. Now she's able to imitate back a handful of signs and words when prompted.
Gorillas. Yes. We had a good time, didn't we? We had fun. Are you all done with the cake? Okay. All right. Let's say bye to Daddy. Bye. Bye.
Oh, was that fun? More. And this is Presley today. She's able to sign and say many words spontaneously. Hi, I'm Suzanne, and I am the mom of this gorgeous little double-dimpled beauty named Presley. Say hi. She is a special needs toddler that has made such phenomenal progress with her communication, which I credit to sign language. And people who have seen her progress and have seen her great results have been asking me, seriously, tell me everything you did. Step by step, I want to know everything. I want to know all your secrets, all your tips. So that's what I decided to do, create a video so I could answer all of your questions. So here's our story. Presley has sensory processing disorder, which means she has global delays in a myriad of areas, such as her cognition, her social interactions, her gross motor skills, but it's been most pronounced and obvious in her deficits with speech and language. Many have been speculating a diagnosis from autism to apraxia because she would go from silence to tantrums in seconds, absolute meltdowns. She would become so frustrated so intensely that she was literally throwing herself back onto the floor, and she would hit her head either on objects on the way down or on the floor itself, and then she'd be screaming in frustration and in pain. And to me, regardless of what the diagnosis was going to be, I needed help today, and I needed to help her be able to find a way of communicating to help bridge that gap between silence and absolute frustration. We were fortunate enough to have an excellent pediatrician, which referred us to our local regional center, which is funded by the state under the No Child Left Behind Act. They referred us to an early intervention center for toddlers with special needs and developmental delays. And when we began there, the teachers encouraged me to teach Presley basic sign language as a tool to help her have a form of communication. They had found that Presley she was high in her receptive language, which means she seemed to understand what everyone was saying to her, and she could follow directions. If I asked her to get me something, she could bring it to me. So we knew that mentally, cognition-wise, she was understanding. But there was a gap and a bridge and a divide and a disconnect between what she understood and what she could express. It was really frustrating for both of us because I could see it in her eyes, but I didn't know how to help her. But I was determined to give it a shot and try because I was willing to do anything for my child. I was desperate. And I wanted to help her any way I could. Sorry, this is very emotional for me. Just remembering and reliving those days were really hard. And so like I say, I began teaching her sign language, and she picked it up immediately and effortlessly. And it blew my mind. I could not believe how quickly she began to pick it up. And I remember the very first time
she came to me, and with her tiny little fingers, she signed cereal. And our responses were amazing. She realized immediately that by making a simple gesture with her fingers got her immediately what she wanted, for she had cereal in her hands in seconds. But she also got to see the joy of her mother's reaction. And all in one, I began crying tears of joy. I began laughing, and I picked her up, and I swung her around, and I gave her a big kiss, and I just told her, "You did it, Presley, you did it. You told me what you wanted. You asked for cereal, and you got cereal." And she smiled the biggest smile, and I knew instantly she understood the connection, that if I make a sign, I will get what I'm asking for. And for her, that changed everything in her world. And for me, I realized there was someone in there. She'd been silent for so many months. And it made me realize she'd been in there all along. She just didn't have a way to express herself. And when I realized how smart she was, how bright she was, and how easy it was, I decided, that's it. I am going to learn every word I can. I'm going to help teach her everything in her world so that she can have a big vocabulary and be able to request whatever it is she wants. So thus began the greatest journey of my life. The quest to not only be my child's advocate, but to be my child's teacher. And it has been the most beautiful and rewarding journey of my life. And I hope that our story will inspire you and give you hope and give you some tips and tools so that you too can have what you need for your journey.